Kate Morrison stared at the screen in front of her. Something was wrong. The sensors on her ship, the Aurora, had picked up a signal. It was weak and getting weaker. She leaned forward in her chair and checked the readings again. "Paul, come look at this," she called to her medical officer. Dr. Paul Grant walked over and looked at the screen. His eyes went wide. "That's a distress signal. But the pattern is strange." "I've never seen anything like it," Kate nodded. She had been working in deep space for 5 years, studying new planets and looking for signs of alien life. But this was different. This signal was coming from a ship and it was not human. "Should we investigate?" Paul asked. Kate thought for a moment. They were far from Earth, far from any help. But someone out there needed them. She made her decision. "Yes, set a course. Let's go see what we can do." The Aurora moved through space toward the signal. As they got closer, Kate could see a ship floating in the darkness. It was beautiful and strange. The metal was a deep purple color and it curved in ways that human ships never did. But it was damaged. Large holes marked its side and debris floated around it. "Life signs?" Kate asked. Paul checked his scanner. "Yes, 2 of them. Both weak." Kate called her pilot, Ben Parker, to the bridge. "Ben, can you get us close enough to board?" Ben studied the damaged ship. "It'll be tricky, but I can do it." 20 minutes later, Kate and Paul were standing at the airlock wearing their spacesuits. Ben had brought the Aurora right next to the alien vessel. Kate took a deep breath and opened the door. The inside of the alien ship was dark. Their flashlights cut through the shadows. The air was thin, and Kate could hear the hiss of leaking atmosphere. They needed to hurry. "This way," Paul said, following his scanner. They moved through strange corridors. The walls were covered in symbols that Kate didn't recognize. She took pictures with her helmet camera. If they survived this, the scientists back on Earth would want to see everything. They found the first alien in what looked like a control room. She was tall, taller than any human, with pale blue skin and silver eyes. She wore elegant robes that were now stained with blood. She was unconscious but breathing. "This one needs immediate help," Paul said. He pulled out his medical kit and began working. "Where's the other life sign?" Kate asked. Paul pointed to a door on the far side of the room. Kate moved toward it. The door was sealed, but there was a small window. She looked through it and gasped. Inside was a small creature. It looked like a miniature version of the tall alien in the other room. It was curled up in a corner, shaking. Its silver eyes were wide with fear. Kate's heart broke. This was a child, a baby, and it was terrified. She tried the door, but it wouldn't open. The locking mechanism was damaged. Kate looked around and found a metal bar. She wedged it into the door and pushed with all her strength. Finally, the door gave way. The child made a high-pitched sound and tried to press itself further into the corner. Kate held up her hand slowly. "It's okay," she said softly, even though she knew it couldn't understand her words. "I'm here to help." The child watched her with those huge silver eyes. Kate could see it trembling. She took off her helmet even though the air was thin. She wanted the child to see her face, to know she was real. "My name is Kate," she said in the gentlest voice she could manage. "You're safe now." She moved slowly, carefully, until she was sitting on the floor a few feet away from the child. She didn't try to touch it. She just sat there, letting it get used to her presence. Behind her, she could hear Paul working on the tall alien. "Kate, I've stabilized her, but we need to get them both to the Aurora, now." Kate nodded, but kept her eyes on the child. "Can you walk?" she asked it. The child didn't move. Kate tried a different approach. She held out her hand, palm up, the way she would with a scared animal. The child tilted its head, studying her. Then slowly it reached out one small hand. Its fingers were long and delicate, with 3 joints instead of 2. When it touched Kate's palm, she felt a shock run through her. Not painful, but surprising. It was like electricity, but warm. Images flashed through Kate's mind. She saw a ship under attack. She saw the tall alien woman holding the child close. She saw fear and pain and darkness, Kate gasped. The child had somehow shared its memories with her. It was telepathic. "It's okay," Kate said again. "The danger is over. You're safe." The child made a small sound, almost like a whimper. Then it did something that surprised Kate. It crawled forward and wrapped its arms around her neck. Kate froze for a moment. Then carefully she wrapped her arms around the small creature. It was warm and solid in her arms. It buried its face against her shoulder. "Paul, we need to move," Kate said. "Can you carry the adult?" "With Ben's help, yes." He's coming now. Kate stood up, still holding the child. It clung to her tightly. Ben arrived with a stretcher, and together he and Paul carefully moved the unconscious alien woman onto it. The trip back to the Aurora was tense. Kate carried the child the whole way. It wouldn't let go of her. Every time she tried to set it down, it made that scared sound again and held on tighter. Once they were back on the Aurora, Paul put the adult alien in the medical bay. The child screamed when Kate tried to put it down near its mother. Okay, Kate said. You can stay with me. She took the child to her quarters and sat down on her bed. The child was still shaking. Kate did the only thing she could think of. She began to hum. It was an old song her grandmother had taught her, a lullaby from Earth. The child's shaking slowed. It lifted its head and looked at Kate with those big silver eyes. Kate smiled and kept humming. Then something incredible happened. The child reached up and placed both its small hands on either side of Kate's face. That warm, electric feeling came again, but stronger this time. And in her mind, Kate heard a single word. It was in a language she didn't know, but somehow she understood its meaning perfectly. Mother. Kate's eyes filled with tears. Oh no, she whispered. Oh, little one, I'm not your mother. Your mother is in the medical bay. But the child just smiled for the first time. It pressed its forehead against Kate's and repeated the word in her mind. Mother. Kate held the child close and wondered what she had just gotten herself into. Outside her window, the stars shone cold and distant. But in her arms, this small alien creature felt warm and real and completely dependent on her. She had come out here to study alien life. She had never expected to become a mother to one. 3 days passed before the tall alien woman woke up.
Kate spent every hour with the child.
She learned that it liked to eat a sweet paste from its ship's food stores. She learned that it made a purring sound when it was happy. She learned that it absolutely refused to leave her side. Ben had managed to salvage the translation device from the alien ship. It was a small disc that attached to the ear. When Kate wore it, she could understand the symbols on the alien vessel and hopefully communicate with the woman when she woke. The child, whom Kate had started calling Kiro because of the soft chirping sound it made, was sitting in her lap when Paul came running. Kate, she's awake, and she's asking for her child. Kate's stomach dropped. She looked down at Kiro, who was playing with her fingers. The child seemed happy and content. Kate didn't want to think about what would happen when she had to give Kiro back. She carried Kiro to the medical bay. Ben and Captain Ryan Hayes were already there, standing at a careful distance from the alien woman. She was sitting up on the medical bed, her silver eyes scanning the room frantically. When she saw Kiro, she cried out. The translation device in Kate's ear turned the sound into words. My child. Bring me my child. Kate walked forward slowly. But when she tried to put Kiro down, the child screamed and wrapped its arms tighter around her neck. The woman's face changed. She looked confused and then angry. What have you done to my offspring? The woman demanded. Nothing, Kate said quickly. The translation device would let the woman understand her too. I saved your child. Your ship was dying. You were unconscious. I protected your baby. The woman stared at Kate for a long moment. Then she looked at Kiro, who had buried its face in Kate's shoulder. Come here, Kiro, the woman said softly. Come to your mother. Kiro peeked out at the woman. Then it made a small negative sound and held Kate tighter. The woman's face went pale, even paler than it already was. She stood up despite Paul's protests and moved closer. Kiro, I am Saravan, your birth mother. You know me. Come here, but Kiro wouldn't go. It kept its grip on Kate. Saravan took a step back. Her hands were shaking. No, she whispered. This cannot be. How many days? 3 days, Kate said. You've been unconscious for 3 days. Saravan sat down heavily on the medical bed. She put her face in her hands. 7 days, she said quietly. The imprinting period is 7 days. My child has bonded with you instead of me. Kate felt cold. What does that mean? Saravan looked up at her and Kate saw tears in those silver eyes. It means that in my culture you are now my child's mother. The bond cannot be broken. The imprinting happens only once in the first 7 days of life. Kiro was 3 days old when our ship was attacked. But I'm not even the same species, Kate said. It does not matter, Saravan said. The bond is telepathic, deeper than blood. Kiro has chosen you. Or perhaps you chose Kiro when you comforted my child instead of leaving it alone in fear. Captain Hayes stepped forward. I think we need to discuss this calmly. Can you tell us who you are and where you're from? Saravan straightened her spine. Even injured and heartbroken, she looked regal. I am Queen Saravan of the Vexari Empire. My ship was attacked by rebels who wished to overthrow my family. I was taking Kiro to safety when they found us. A queen. Kate was holding the child of an alien queen. This was getting worse by the second. And this bonding thing, Captain Hayes continued. Is there any way to reverse it? No, Saravan said firmly. Among my people, it would be considered a worse crime than murder to try. The bond is sacred. The child's chosen parent must raise them or the child will die. Kate's arms tightened around Cairo automatically. Die? The telepathic bond sustains them in their early years, Saravan explained. Without their bonded parent, they will waste away. No amount of medical care can save them. Paul looked at his scanner. Captain, I'm picking up multiple ships approaching. They're big. Saravan stood again. My people, they have found me. Within an hour, the Aurora was surrounded by 5 massive Vexari vessels. They made the Aurora look like a toy. Kate stood on the bridge with Kiro in her arms, watching as a delegation prepared to board. This is going to be a disaster, Ben muttered. He wasn't wrong. When the Vexari delegation came aboard, they saw their queen standing next to a human woman who held the royal child. The lead Vexari, a tall male with deep purple skin, looked like he wanted to attack Kate right there. Your Majesty, he said, bowing to Saravan, we rejoiced when we found your signal. We have prepared medical care and transport back to Vexara. Thank you, Commander Vexilor, Saravan said, but there is a complication. She explained what had happened. With each word, the Vexari delegation looked more shocked and angry. When she finished, there was silence. Then Vexilor spoke. This is an outrage. A human has stolen the royal heir? I didn't steal anyone, Kate said, trying to keep her voice calm even though she was terrified. I saved a frightened child. The human speaks the truth, Saravan said. She could not have known about our bonding customs. This is no one's fault. Nevertheless, Vexilor said coldly, this cannot stand. The royal heir cannot be raised by an inferior species. Kate felt anger rise in her chest. Inferior. I kept your child alive. I kept your queen alive. Silence, Vexilor snapped. You will show respect. Kiro made an angry sound and glared at Vexilor. The Vexari commander looked surprised. Saravan held up a hand. Commander, you forget yourself. This human is now bonded to the royal heir. By our laws, that makes her family. You will treat her with respect. Vexilor looked like he had been slapped. Your Majesty, surely you don't mean to allow this. I mean to follow our laws, Saravan said. The High Council must decide what is to be done. But until they do, this human and her ship are under royal protection. Anyone who harms them will answer to me personally. Captain Hayes stepped forward. And I need to contact Earth Command. This is a diplomatic situation now. Over the next few hours, Kate watched as her quiet life as a scientist fell apart. Earth Command was contacted. The Vexari High Council was contacted. Everyone had an opinion about what should happen. Kate sat in her quarters with Kiro, trying to block out the noise. The child was scared by all the strangers. It kept asking Kate in its telepathic way to make them leave. There was a knock on her door. Kate opened it to find Saravan standing there alone. May I come in? The Queen asked quietly. Kate nodded and stepped aside. Saravan entered and looked at Kiro, who was hiding behind Kate's leg. I do not blame you, Saravan said. I want you to know that. I'm sorry, Kate said. I didn't mean to take your child from you. Saravan smiled sadly. You did not take. Kiro chose. That is how the bonding works. The child recognizes the soul of the one who will love and protect them. Kiro saw that in you. What's going to happen? Kate asked. The High Council will demand a trial, Saravan said. They will want to test you to see if you are worthy of raising a Vexari child, especially a royal one. And if I fail? Saravan's face went hard. They will execute you for corrupting the royal bloodline. Kate felt her legs go weak. She sat down on her bed. Kiro immediately climbed into her lap, sensing her fear. But there is hope, Saravan continued. I will help you prepare. I will teach you our ways. And perhaps if you pass the trial, we can find a solution that honors both you and Cairo. Why would you help me? Kate asked. Saravan looked at her child with such love that Kate's heart ached. Because Kiro is happy with you. Because you risked your life to save us. And because perhaps our people can learn something from your kind. We Vexari pride ourselves on honor and tradition. But you humans seem to have something we have forgotten. What's that? The ability to love without boundaries, Saravan said softly. She reached out and gently touched Kiro's head. The child looked at her and made a small, happy sound. It was the first time Kiro had responded positively to its birth mother. Saravan's eyes filled with tears again, but this time she was smiling. There is hope, she whispered. Perhaps Kiro can have two mothers. It has never been done before. But then nothing about this situation has ever happened before. Kate looked down at the child in her arms and then up at the alien queen standing in her quarters. She had come to space to study alien life. Now she was caught in the middle of an interstellar incident, facing a trial that could end in her death, and responsible for a child from another world, and somehow, despite everything, she knew she wouldn't change a thing. The trial would take place on a neutral station between Earth space and Vexari territory. Kate had 2 weeks to prepare. 2 weeks to learn everything she could about Vexari culture, or she would die. Saravan moved on to the Aurora to help her. At first, the crew was uncomfortable having an alien queen on their small ship. But Saravan was kind and patient, and soon even Ben was having friendly conversations with her. Kate spent every waking hour studying. She learned that the Vexari valued honor above all else. She learned their gestures of respect. She learned their history, which went back 10,000 years. She learned their language, though the translation device helped with that. But most importantly, she learned about their children. Vexari offspring were precious and rare. Most Vexari only had one child in their entire life. The bond between parent and child was considered the most sacred thing in their culture. That is why the council is so angry, Saravan explained one evening. They were in Kate's quarters. Kiro was asleep between them, holding both of their hands. You are an outsider. They believe you will corrupt Kiro's development. But I would never hurt Kiro, Kate said. I know that. I see how you care for my child. But they do not know you. They see only a human, a species they have never encountered before. Kate looked down at Kiro's sleeping face. The child looked peaceful. Over the past 2 weeks, something amazing had happened. Kiro had started responding to Saravan too, not as strongly as to Kate, but the child no longer pulled away from its birth mother. Saravan, Kate said quietly. Can I ask you something? Of course. Do you hate me? For taking Kiro from you? Saravan was quiet for a long moment. At first I was angry. Not at you, but at fate. I had waited 100 years to have a child. In my species, we live much longer than humans. I thought I would have centuries with Kiro, and then in 3 days that was taken from me. Kate felt tears in her eyes. I'm so sorry. But then, Saravan continued, I watched you with Kiro. I saw how gentle you are, how patient, how you sing those strange human songs to help Kiro sleep. And I realized something. Kiro chose well. Kate looked up at the alien queen in surprise. You have a good heart, Kate Morrison, Saravan said. Perhaps that is what Kiro sensed. Not your species, but your soul. And if my child must have another mother, I am glad it is you. Kate reached across Kiro's sleeping form and took Saravan's hand. The queen squeezed back. Thank you, Kate whispered. The day of the trial came too quickly. Kate stood in the Aurora's docking bay, wearing special clothes that Saravan had given her. They were a mix of human and Vexari styles. Kate's hands were shaking. You can do this, Paul said, giving her a hug. You're the bravest person I know. Ben patted her shoulder awkwardly. Just don't die, okay? We need you to finish that report on the nebula samples. Even Captain Hayes came to see her off. Earth is watching, Dr. Morrison. Whatever happens, you've already made humanity proud. Saravan was waiting at the airlock with Kiro. The child was dressed in royal robes, tiny and beautiful. When Kiro saw Kate, it reached out immediately. Not yet, little one, Saravan said gently. Soon. The trial was held in a massive chamber on the neutral station. The Vexari High Council sat in elevated seats, looking down at Kate like judges. There were 7 of them, each ancient and powerful. Behind them, hundreds of Vexari observers watched. On the other side of the chamber, a screen showed Earth. Kate could see diplomats and scientists watching. The whole galaxy seemed to be holding its breath. The head of the council, an elderly Vexari named Elder Thexara, spoke. Human Kate Morrison, you stand accused of corrupting a royal Vexari child. How do you plead? Kate stood straight, remembering everything Saravan had taught her. I plead innocent, honored elder. I saved a life. I protected a child. These are not crimes. A murmur went through the Vexari observers. Elder Thexera raised a hand for silence. Bold words. But words are easy. You will face 3 trials. The first is the trial of strength. You must prove you can protect the royal heir from physical danger. A door opened and a Vexari warrior entered. He was massive, covered in armor, carrying a long staff. Kate's heart sank. She was a scientist, not a fighter. You will face Champion Krell in combat, Elder Thexera announced. You need not win. You must simply survive for 5 minutes. If you can do that, you prove you have the strength to protect our heir. The warrior, Krell, looked down at Kate. He seemed almost sorry for her. Kate took a deep breath. Saravan had warned her about this. They had practiced, but Kate knew she couldn't beat a trained Vexari warrior in a straight fight. She had to be smart. The trial began. Krell moved toward her with his staff. Kate dodged, using her smaller size to her advantage. The Vexari were tall and powerful, but they were also slower than humans. Kate rolled under a swing and came up behind Krell. She couldn't hurt him, but she could avoid him. That's what Saravan had taught her. Use speed, use her brain. Krell turned and swung again. Kate jumped back, barely avoiding the staff. The Vexari audience was murmuring. They had expected her to be defeated in seconds. 3 minutes passed. Kate was getting tired. Her lungs burned, but she kept moving, kept dodging. She led Krell in a circle around the chamber. With 1 minute left, Krell changed tactics. He swept low, trying to knock Kate's feet out from under her. Kate saw it coming and jumped. But when she landed, her ankle twisted. She fell. Krell raised his staff for the final blow. Kate closed her eyes. The blow never came. Kate opened her eyes to see Krell's staff stopped inches from her head. The warrior was looking at a timer on the wall. 5 minutes exactly. The human has passed the trial of strength, Krell announced. He offered Kate his hand and helped her up. Well fought, small one. Kate limped back to her starting position. Her ankle hurt, but she had passed. 1 trial down, 2 to go. The second trial was the trial of wisdom. Elder Thexara presented Kate with an ancient Vexari puzzle. It was a sphere covered in symbols that could be moved and rotated. The solution was supposed to take hours, sometimes days. You have 30 minutes, the elder said. Kate took the sphere and studied it. The symbols looked random at first, but as she looked closer, she saw patterns. This wasn't just a puzzle. It was a test of understanding Vexari philosophy. Saravan had taught her that the Vexari believed in balance and cycles. Everything returned to its beginning. Kate started to rotate the symbols, looking for the pattern that would bring them all back to their starting positions. 20 minutes passed. Kate's hands moved faster. She could see it now. The pattern was like a dance, each symbol moving in harmony with the others. With 2 minutes left, Kate made the final rotation. The sphere glowed blue and chimed softly. The symbols had aligned perfectly. The Vexari audience erupted in surprised chatter. Elder Thexara looked shocked. No one has solved that puzzle so quickly. Not even our own scholar. Kate handed the sphere back. Your philosophy is beautiful, she said. All things return to balance. All circles close. Elder Thexara nodded slowly. You have passed the trial of wisdom. But the final trial will be the hardest. You must face the trial of spirit. Kate was led to the center of the chamber. Saravan brought Kiro forward. The child reached for Kate, making happy sounds. The trial of spirit requires you to connect with the royal heir through the telepathic bond, Elder Thexera explained. You must show us the depth of your connection. You must prove that your bond is real and pure. Kate knelt down. Kiro ran to her and threw its small arms around her neck. Kate felt the familiar warm feeling as their minds touched. But this time it was different, stronger. The council had activated some kind of amplifier. Kate could feel Kiro's thoughts flooding into her mind, and her thoughts flowing back to the child. She saw Kiro's memories. The fear when the ship was attacked, the terror of being alone in the dark. The moment Kate first looked through the window and smiled. And Kate felt Kiro's love for her. It was pure and absolute. The child trusted her completely. But there was more. Kate could feel another connection, smaller but growing stronger. It was Saravan. Kiro loved its birth mother too. The child's mind held room for both of them. Kate opened her eyes and looked at Saravan. The queen was crying, feeling the connection too through her own bond with Kiro. There is something you should see, Kate said to the council. Still holding Kiro, she reached out her other hand to Saravan. The queen took it. The three of them formed a triangle. 2 mothers and 1 child. And through their connection, everyone in the chamber could feel what Kate felt. Love. Not divided, but multiplied. Kiro didn't have less love because it had 2 mothers. It had more. Elder Thexara stood slowly. The other council members looked stunned. "This is unprecedented," the elder said. "The bond is true, it is pure, and it is shared." "I passed the trial?" Kate asked, barely daring to hope. "You have passed all 3 trials," Elder Thexara said. "But you have done more than that, Kate Morrison. You have shown us something we thought impossible. You have shown us that love can bridge any divide, even between species. The council must deliberate on what this means for our laws and traditions." The chamber erupted in discussion. Kate just held Kiro close, feeling the child's happiness through their bond. Saravan kept her hand on Kate's shoulder. Whatever the council decided, Kate knew one thing for certain. She was Kiro's mother, and she would fight for her child against anything the galaxy could throw at them. The council deliberated for 3 days. Kate spent that time on the neutral station with Saravan and Cairo, waiting for their decision. Every hour felt like a year. On the morning of the 4th day, they were summoned back to the chamber. Kate's hands were shaking as she walked in. She could see Earth's diplomats watching on the screen again. Captain Hayes was there too, along with Paul and Ben. Elder Thexara stood. The High Council has reached a decision. Kate Morrison, you have proven yourself worthy. You have passed our trials. Therefore, we recognize you as a mother to the royal heir Kiro. Kate felt relief wash over her. She was going to live. However, the elder continued, there are conditions. Kiro is Vexari. The heir must be raised in our ways, must learn our culture. You, Kate Morrison, will come to live on Vexara, our homeworld. You will spend half of each year there so that Kiro may learn to be Vexari. Kate's heart sank. Half of every year? Away from Earth. Away from her crew and her work? She looked down at Kiro, who was holding her hand and looking up at her with those big silver eyes. The child's love flowed through their bond, warm and trusting. Kate thought about her grandmother who had raised her after her parents died. Her grandmother had given up her own dreams to take care of Kate. She had always said that being a mother meant sacrifice. Kate looked up at the council. I accept your terms. The chamber erupted in noise. Some Vexari seemed pleased. Others looked angry. On Earth's screen, the diplomats were talking urgently among themselves. Saravan touched Kate's shoulder. Thank you, the Queen whispered. 2 weeks later, Kate found herself on a Vexari ship heading to their home world. The Aurora had returned to Earth space. Kate had said goodbye to Paul, Ben, and Captain Hayes. They had all hugged her and promised to stay in touch. You're doing an amazing thing, Paul had said. Taking care of a child, building a bridge between species. That's bigger than any scientific discovery. Now Kate stood at the window of Saravan's ship, watching as Vexara came into view. The planet was beautiful, with purple oceans and silver clouds. 3 moons hung in the sky. Nervous? Saravan asked, coming to stand beside her. Terrified, Kate admitted. Kiro was playing nearby with a toy that projected lights. The child was growing fast. It could walk now and was starting to speak a few words in both human English and the Vexari language. The nobles will test you, Saravan warned. Many of them believe humans are inferior. They will try to make you fail to prove you are not worthy of raising a royal child. How do I deal with them? The same way you dealt with the trials, Saravan said. With courage and honesty. And remember, you are not alone. You have me, and you have Kiro. The palace on Vexara was enormous. It made the biggest buildings on Earth look tiny. Kate was given quarters next to Saravan's, connected by a door so Kiro could go between both mothers easily. The first few weeks were hard. The Vexari nobles were cold to Kate. They whispered when she walked by. Some refused to speak to her at all. Kate felt lonely and out of place, but she kept going. She studied Vexari history every night. She practiced their customs. She learned their art and music. And most importantly, she took care of Kiro. Kate taught Kiro songs from Earth. She told stories about human history. She showed the child pictures of Earth's animals and plants. Saravan did the same with Vexari culture. Together, they were raising a child who belonged to 2 worlds. One day, Kate was in the palace gardens with Kiro. The child loved the strange plants that grew there. Some glowed in the dark. Others sang when you touched them. A voice interrupted them. So you are the human who claims to be a mother to our prince. Kate turned to see a Vexari noble. He was tall even for their species, with dark purple skin and cold golden eyes. His robes showed he was high-ranking. "I am Kate Morrison," she said, bowing in the Vexari way of greeting. "And you are?" "General Thaxamore," he said. "I command the Queen's armies. Or I did before she was attacked." There was something in his voice that Kate didn't like. Something angry. "The attack on the Queen's ship," Kate said carefully. "Do they know who was responsible?" "Rebels," Thaxamore said. "Criminals who think they can overthrow our rightful rulers." He looked at Kiro. "And now our heir is being raised by an alien. Perhaps the rebels have a point." Kate felt anger rise in her chest, but she kept her voice calm. "I love Kiro, that's all that matters." "Love?" Thaxamore laughed coldly. "What does a human know of love? Your species fights wars over resources. You destroy your own planet. You are children playing with fire." "My species also creates art," Kate said. "We write music. We care for those who are weaker. We explore space not to conquer, but to learn. We are not perfect, but we are not monsters either." Thaxamore stepped closer. "If you truly care for that child, you will leave. You will return to Earth and let Queen Saravan raise the heir properly. Every day you stay, you corrupt our culture." Before Kate could answer, Cairo made an angry sound. The child ran to Kate and hugged her leg, glaring at Thaxamore. The general looked surprised. Then his face hardened. "The child has been corrupted already. This is unacceptable." He turned and walked away. Kate watched him go, feeling cold. Something about Thaxamore frightened her. That night, Kate told Saravan about the encounter. The Queen's face went pale. "Thaxamore," she said quietly. "I should have known. He has always been against change. He believes our species should remain isolated." "Is he dangerous?" Kate asked. "Very. He has many followers among the traditional nobles. They see your presence here as a threat to our way of life." "Should I be worried?" Saravan took Kate's hand. "I will protect you. You are family now. Anyone who threatens you threatens me." But 3 days later, the unthinkable happened. Kate woke up in the middle of the night to alarms blaring. She ran to check on Kiro, but the child's room was empty. Saravan burst through the connecting door. "Kiro is gone. The guards found them unconscious. Someone has taken my child." Kate felt like the floor had dropped out from under her. Through her bond with Kiro, she could feel the child's fear. "I can sense, Kiro, the bond is still there. But it's faint, like distance is weakening it." "That means Kiro is still on the planet," Saravan said. She was already pulling on armor. "The bond cannot reach beyond the atmosphere. They have hidden my child somewhere on Vexara." The next hours were a blur. Saravan called her loyal guards. They searched the palace. Kate focused on the bond, trying to sense where Kiro was. "There," she said, pointing to the mountains visible from the palace window. "Kiro is somewhere in those mountains." "I can feel it," a guard commander approached. "Your Majesty, we found something." A message carved into the wall of the nursery. It says the old ways must be preserved. The corruption must end. Saravan's face went hard. "Thaxamore. It has to be him. He has taken Kiro to force Kate to leave." "Then I'll go," Kate said immediately. "I'll leave Vexara right now if it means Kiro is safe." "No," Saravan said firmly. "If we give in to him now, he wins. And he will never stop. We must rescue Kiro together." Kate looked at the alien queen who had become her friend. "Together," she agreed. Saravan gathered her most loyal troops. Kate insisted on coming with them, even though she had no training for this kind of mission. "I can sense where Kiro is," Kate explained. "You need me." They flew in fast ships toward the mountains. Kate kept her mind focused on the bond, guiding them. The connection grew stronger as they got closer. They found the compound hidden in a valley. It was an old fortress, abandoned for centuries. But now it was occupied. Kate could see guards patrolling. "How do we get in?" Kate asked. Saravan smiled grimly. "We use your human creativity and our Vexari strength." "Tell me, Kate, what would your people do?" Kate thought fast. "We would create a distraction. Make them think we're attacking from one side, then go in from another." "Good," Saravan said. She turned to her commander. "Take half the troops and assault the main gate. Make noise. Make them think that is our primary attack. Kate and I will take the rest and enter through the back." It was dangerous and possibly foolish, but it was their best chance. The assault began. Kate heard the sounds of fighting from the front of the fortress. She and Saravan led a small team through a back entrance. an old service tunnel that Kate spotted on the maps. Inside, they moved quietly. Kate followed the bond. It was strong now. Kira was close. They found the child in a locked room guarded by Thaxmore himself. The general turned as they entered, his hand on a weapon. "You should not have come, Your Majesty," Thaxmore said. "I gave the human a chance to leave peacefully." "You kidnapped my child," Saravan said, her voice deadly calm. "You have committed treason." "I committed necessity," Thaxmore replied. "Our culture is ancient and pure. This human pollutes it. The child will be better off raised by true Vexari." "Kiro has two mothers," Kate said. "Both of us are true. Love doesn't pollute. It enriches." Thaxmore raised his weapon. But before he could fire, Kiro did something amazing. The child, only a few months old, released a telepathic wave. Kate felt it like a shout in her mind. Thaxmore staggered, clutching his head. In that moment, Saravan's guards moved. They disarmed the general and bound him. Kate ran to Kiro and picked up the child. Kiro was crying, scared but unharmed. Kate held the child close, whispering comfort. Saravan joined them, wrapping her arms around both Kate and Kiro. "My family," she whispered. "Safe." Thaxmore was taken away. He would face justice, but more importantly, his plot had failed. Kate and Saravan had proven they were stronger together than apart. 3 years had passed since that terrifying night in the mountains. Kate stood at the window of her quarters on a space station that orbited between Earth and Vexara. This station, called Unity, had become her home. It was a compromise that satisfied everyone. Kate spent time here with Kiro, along with Saravan. Human and Vexari families lived together on Unity, learning from each other. It had become a symbol of cooperation between their species. Behind Kate, Kiro was playing with a group of children. Some were human, some were Vexari. The children didn't care about the differences. They just laughed and ran together. Kiro was bigger now, about the size of a human 5-year-old, though Vexari children grew differently. The child's telepathic abilities were strong, and Kiro could speak both English and the Vexari language perfectly. "Mom, Kate," Kiro called, using the name the child had settled on for her. "Look what I made." Kate turned to see Kiro holding up a drawing. It showed 2 figures, one human and one Vexari, holding hands with a small child between them. Above them were stars. "It's beautiful," Kate said, kneeling down. "Is that us?" "It's our family," Kiro said proudly. "You and Mom, Sarah, and me." Saravan entered the room carrying a data pad. She looked tired but happy. "The council has approved the new cultural exchange program. 20 more human families will come to learn about Vexari culture, and 20 Vexari families will visit Earth." Kate smiled. "That's wonderful news." After Thaxmore's arrest, things had changed on Vexara. The general's plot had shown many Vexari that isolation wasn't the answer. A new generation of Vexari was rising, one that believed in openness and learning from other species. Thaxmore and his followers had been exiled to a remote planet. The old general had lost everything because he couldn't accept change. It was a sad ending, but Kate had learned that not everyone could move forward. "Kiro," Saravan said, "your teacher is here for your history lesson." The child groaned. "But I want to play." "Education first," Kate said gently. "Then play. That's the rule." Kiro sighed but went off to the learning room. The child's teacher was a human woman named Amy Clark, Kate's old friend from the Aurora. Amy had volunteered to come to Unity to help teach the children. Once Kiro was gone, Saravan sat down beside Kate. Over the past 3 years, they had become true friends. Sometimes Kate forgot that Saravan was an alien queen. She just saw her friend and co-parent. "I received a message from Earth," Saravan said. "They want to make a documentary about us, about how we are raising Kiro together." Kate laughed. "Of course they do. We're famous. The first interspecies family. Are you happy here?" Saravan asked suddenly. "Truly happy? You gave up so much. Your career, your home planet, your old life." Kate thought about it. She did miss Earth sometimes. She missed the Aurora and deep space exploration. But when she looked at what she had gained, those losses seemed small. "I'm happy," Kate said honestly. "Being Kiro's mother is the most important thing I've ever done. And having you as a friend, learning about your culture, helping to bridge our 2 species. I wouldn't trade this for anything." Saravan smiled, a gesture she had learned from Kate. "I feel the same. When Kiro first bonded with you, I thought I had lost my child, but I gained so much more. I gained a new kind of family, one built on love rather than just blood. The door chimed. Paul Grant entered carrying medical supplies. He had retired from deep space exploration and now ran the medical center on Unity. Time for Kiro's checkup, Paul said cheerfully. Where's the little one? In a history lesson, Kate said. I'll go get Kiro. Kate walked down the corridor to the learning room. Through the window, she could see Kiro sitting with 3 other children listening to Amy explain something about Earth's history. Kiro was the only Vexari child, but the human children treated the child like any other friend. This was what Kate had dreamed of. A place where species didn't matter, where children could just be children. That evening there was a gathering in Unity's main hall. It was a celebration. Earth and the Vexari Empire were signing a formal alliance treaty. Diplomats from both sides were present. Kate stood with Saravan watching the ceremony. Kiro sat between them, dressed in special robes that combined human and Vexari styles. The Earth ambassador, a man named David Price, spoke first. 5 years ago, we didn't know the Vexari existed. Today, they are our friends and partners. This alliance was built on an unlikely foundation. A human scientist and a Vexari queen, raising a child together. They showed us that cooperation is possible, that our differences make us stronger, not weaker. The Vexari representative, Elder Thexara, the same elder who had overseen Kate's trial, spoke next. We Vexari believed we were alone in the universe in our wisdom. We believed our ways were the only correct ways. Kate Morrison taught us humility. She taught us that wisdom comes in many forms, that love transcends species. We are grateful for this lesson. After the ceremony, there was a party. Music played, a mix of human and Vexari styles. People danced and laughed together. Kate found herself standing outside on an observation deck looking at the stars. She heard footsteps and turned to see Captain Hayes approaching. He had been promoted to admiral and was now in charge of Earth's deep space fleet. Kate Morrison, he said warmly. The woman who changed history, Kate laughed. I just took care of a scared child. Anyone would have done the same. But they didn't, Hayes said. You did. You risked everything. And because of that, humanity has a place among the stars. We're not alone anymore. We were never alone, Kate said softly. We just didn't know it yet. Hayes looked at her seriously. Earth wants to offer you a position. Ambassador to the Vexari. Official and permanent. It comes with a lot of responsibility, but also a lot of freedom. You could shape the future of human and Vexari relations. Kate was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled. I accept. But on one condition. Saravan and I do it together, as equal partners. I think that can be arranged, Hayes said. Later that night, Kate tucked Kiro into bed. The child was sleepy but happy. The party had been exciting, with lots of new people to meet. Mom Kate, Kiro said, tell me the story again. About how you and Mom Sarah met. Kate sat on the edge of the bed. It was a story she had told many times, but Kiro never got tired of hearing it. Well, Kate began, it started with a distress signal. I was on a ship called the Aurora, and we picked up a call for help. When we found the damaged ship, I didn't know it would change my life. I was just trying to help. And you found me, Kiro said. And I found you. You were so small and so scared. I couldn't leave you alone. And I bonded with you. Kiro continued the familiar story. You did. And at first that seemed like a problem, but it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me, because I got you. And I got Mom Sarah, and I got a whole new family. Kiro's eyes were getting heavy. Do you think other humans and Vexari will become families too? I hope so, Kate said. You've shown everyone that it's possible. You're special, Kiro. You're a bridge between two worlds. I'm just me, Kiro mumbled, already half asleep. Kate kissed the child's forehead. Yes, you're just you. And that's perfect. She turned off the light and left the room. Saravan was waiting in the common area they shared. Kiro asleep? The Queen asked. Yes, dreaming of the party probably. Saravan poured 2 cups of tea, a human custom she had grown to enjoy. They sat together in comfortable silence. Do you ever wonder, Saravan said, what would have happened if we had never met, if my ship hadn't been damaged near your vessel? I think about it sometimes, Kate admitted. My life would have been so different. Simpler maybe, but not as rich, not as full. I would still be a traditional Vexari queen, Saravan said, following the old ways. never questioning, never growing. And Kira would have been raised in a palace surrounded by servants learning to be royal but maybe never learning to be happy. Saravan nodded. Fate works in mysterious ways. That attack on my ship seemed like a disaster, but it brought me here to you, to this life. Kate raised her cup. To disasters that turn into miracles. Saravan clinked her cup against Kate's. To family, in all its forms. Over the next year, Unity Station grew. More humans and Vexari came to live there. The cultural exchange program was so successful that other alien species began to take notice. First contact with a species called the Torani happened on Unity, then the Zelf. Soon, Unity was home to 5 different species, all learning from each other. Kate and Saravan became ambassadors not just between humans and Vexari, but for the idea of peaceful cooperation itself. They traveled to different worlds telling their story. Everywhere they went, Kiro came with them. The child was growing into something remarkable. Kiro had Kate's compassion and curiosity. Kiro had Saravan's wisdom and dignity. But most importantly, Kiro had something that neither species had alone, the ability to see beyond differences, to find what united rather than divided. On Kiro's 7th birthday, by human counting, there was a huge celebration on Unity. Representatives from a dozen species came. Kate watched as Kiro gave a speech, the child's voice clear and confident. I am Vexari, Kiro said, but I am also human, not by blood but by heart. I have 2 mothers who love me, 2 cultures that shaped me, 2 languages that I speak. Some people think that makes me divided, but I am not divided. I am doubled. I am multiplied. Every species I meet adds to who I am, and that is the future I want to build, a future where we all add to each other, where our differences are gifts, not problems. The crowd erupted in applause. Kate felt tears on her face. Saravan reached over and squeezed her hand. We did good, Saravan whispered. Yes, Kate agreed. We did. That night, after all the guests had left, Kate stood at the window again, looking at the stars. She thought about the scared scientist she had been 5 years ago, the woman who just wanted to study nebulas and catalog planets, that Kate would never have believed she would become a mother. An ambassador, a bridge between species, but here she was, and she wouldn't change a thing. Behind her, Kiro and Saravan were laughing about something. Kate turned to see them playing a game, some Vexari version of chess. They were both so focused, so competitive. This was her family, not the family she had been born into, not the family she had expected, but the family she had chosen and that had chosen her. Kate walked over and joined the game. Saravan moved to make room for her. Kiro grinned, an expression that was pure joy. Mom Kate, help me beat Mom Sarah, Kiro said. Hey, that's not fair, Saravan protested. 2 against 1. All's fair in love and games, Kate said with a laugh. They played late into the night. Outside the window, stars shone on 3 figures huddled around a game board. A human, a Vexari, and a child who belonged to both worlds and to none. A family that shouldn't have existed but did. And in the years to come, when historians wrote about the great alliance between humans and the Vexari, when they talked about how species learned to live together in peace, they would point back to this moment. To a small room on a space station. To 3 people who loved each other despite every reason not to. Because sometimes love is stronger than logic. Sometimes family is built not from blood but from choice. And sometimes the best thing you can do is open your arms to someone different from yourself and say the simplest, most powerful words in any language. You are mine and I am yours. We are family.